Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, but it's Wednesday, which means only one thing. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly, the weekly show where we give you all the updates on pro wrestling. We talk a little bit about history, notable birthdays, everything that's hot topic at the moment in the world of professional wrestling or sports entertainment, depending on how you prefer to do it. But joining me on the show tonight, a man who has been on the show before, a man who is an author, a man who is an avid pro wrestling fan. He's also a gooner for his sins as well. Kenny Noble. Kenny, how are you, my friend?
I was grand till you brought up that last part, but yeah, I'm still licking my wounds over the weekend, unfortunately. So we won't go down that rabbit hole, I think, tonight.
Early days.
Might be a good
Early
idea.
days.
Unless Morris
Early
is in the
days.
chat there, he can back me up a little bit. But other than that, no, we won't touch that one. Sour,
Absolutely.
still sour.
Yeah, well, we've plenty to get through tonight. We're going to get through some of the hot topics in wrestling at the moment. Of course, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking to Kenny, who's working on his second book. The first book came out absolutely sensational. I actually, in order to have my copy here beside me, Kenny, I have it on a frame on my wall. So there you go. I haven't even,
That's awesome.
something? I've read through some of it, but I'm trying not to crease it now. And I have it there. The book that you gave me the day we did the book launch in the shop. I still have the book that you signed for me. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
But I say to people when I talk to people about the book, I go, it's not just necessarily it's a book, it's a piece of art really as well, you know. So the greatest show on earth, of course, it's called. And we'll get into that. We'll have a quick chat about the first book, and then of course we'll get an update off you for the second book. Of course, you don't maybe want to give too much away, but you can give us a little bit, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So let's get into the chat. First of all, Eno's there. Eno will be joining us in a bit as well. Eno wants to give us his updates on wrestling, stuff like that. The phone is on charge at the moment. Great to have that there and stuff like that. And Daz is in the chat as well. Big up, Daz. What's the crack, Niall? At Kenny. Love it. Big up, Daz. Love Daz. Daz has great support for us, and all the community does as well. But I suppose there's a couple of things we want the chat to get through, but we'll talk a little bit about a little bit of news items and stuff like that while the chat fills up a little bit and stuff like that. And of course, this came out, which was very, very interesting. Kenny, I don't know if you're saying this. AEW estimated to lose $34 million in 2023 on the back of the biggest show in pro wrestling history in Wembley, apparently, with the biggest ticket sales and gate attendance and all that. Going to lose apparently $34 million. This came out, I think it was Cultaholic who did it, so we have to give them their props for it and stuff like that. Let us know your thoughts, Kenny. What you think of this one?
I mean, look, they've really been the architects of their own failures over a period of time, haven't they? It's just AEW, unfortunately, there's a lot of similarities from what I can see with AEW and the kind of the WCW and the demise of WCW. I'm not saying AEW is in that category right now, but they're certainly following a similar blueprint from what I can see, and just hiring all I have WWE guys and politics backstage and on all this kind of stuff, and it's just I'm not surprised to see that figure. Now, look, $34 million. What's that to Tony Khan these days? I'm not too sure, but at the same time, it doesn't make for great reading, in my opinion. But look, there's just so much in the last 12 months that shouldn't have happened and it shouldn't have been allowed to happen, and certainly shouldn't have been allowed to be made public as well, which have absolutely not helped the product in any shape or form. But you just feel for the company because, like, my feelings on AEW. I think I've been fairly well public about that over the last while. But at the same time, as a pro wrestling fan, you still want to have good quality content out there, and not just with WWE. You want to have alternatives out there. Back in the day, we used to have TNA when it was ran by proper people before you ran it into the ground. Do you know what I mean? And WCW back in the day as well. And we've had some fantastic promotions in between as well. But I just feel AEW they're trying too much, I think. And as well as that, they've got WWE's name in their mouths too often, which WCW did as well back in the day. And that's not good either, and yeah. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of TNA. Remember when they decided to become TNA, WWE, and the Hogan and Bischoff stuff and all that kind of stuff? And then all of a sudden, Dixie Carter's dad, Panda Energy, and all this kind of thing decided we want to actually turn a profit now. We want to actually make some money. We don't want this just to be a tax write-off anymore. And I wonder at what point does the dad turn around to Tony and go, listen, you've enjoyed the fruits of your hobby there and you've made all your dreams come true and sitting beside the people you want to sit to. At what point does this gig start making money? And it has all the telltale signs of TNA, with the dad probably eventually going to turn around and go, what am I sumping all this money into this for? So guys can have a bit of fun at the expense of us, basically, you know.
He's given him a very expensive tie to play with, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
To be fair. I think the only way that they'll stop hemorrhaging money, in my opinion, is just to hand the keys over to somebody else and let them take over the reins, because Tony, like, he comes across as a kind of a very, he's a passionate wrestling fan. That's the bottom line. He is. You hear him on Busted Open, on their podcast, who say he does come across very passionate about professional wrestling. But look, you and I are passionate about pro wrestling. We're not going to take over the company.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you need to have the right minds behind. It's like a football club. A football club can't be run by somebody or taken over by somebody who's just a passionate Arsenal fan or United fan or Liverpool fan. You need to have the people behind that are actually making the moves and making those decisions, not Tony. And I think that's where they really need to have a look at. I don't think it'll happen, mind you, but I think it needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen's in. How are you, Stephen? Kenny, London is claret and blue, he says.
Oh, no. See, this is that rabbit hole I was telling you about. I didn't want to go down, but listen, we go down that rabbit hole, there's no coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Stephen, don't go anywhere, because I have a little gig for you tonight in the chat, and a lot of other people as well. You're not getting off that. You've been hammering me for 2 weeks now over this gobbledygooker, and now it's coming back. Now it's going to come back and bite you, so stay tuned. There's a slide coming up, Stephen, just for you. Aces is in, CM Punk, bags of cash, absolutely. Baz is in, big up my brother from another mother. Evening, lads, what's the crack? Stephen is going CM Punch and then CM Punk, of course. There's plenty of CM Punk to be talking about tonight. Don't worry about that. We'll be getting to it. Acer, Sasha Banks and AJ Lee, surprises in the women Rumble match. Maybe. Yo, what's up, Bonkers? Good to see you. Big up all. Good to see you there in the chat. Good news today as well, Bonkers. Not to divert into football, but the stand got passed, which heaps more bad news on United. So there's going to be another 10,000 Reds in Anfield on Sunday for that game. Let's move on then and talk quickly. Charlotte pulled from the weekend shows due in injury concerns. Looks like she has a knee injury now. I seen the clip and it was scary to say the least. Not good. And it looks like now she's going to be out for a prolonged period of time and potentially missing, from what I read, the Rumble and Mania and, of course, Elimination Chamber in Perth. So a huge setback for Charlotte there, and especially in that whole area where that Rumble, that Mania season is the big earner for these. And this is where they really earn their money during the year and stuff like that, So I'm sure
you don't want to be missing those shows. You look back at your career at the end, and these are the ones that define you, those WrestleMania moments, those Royal Rumble moments, those big moments. And, you're not going to get many of them, especially, in the women's division, you're not going to get a massive amount of those opportunities at the highest level. And if you miss one or two of them, and it's sad, because, the women's division at the moment is absolutely lit. I mean, it's absolutely stacked from top to bottom, and there's some fantastic talent. And the last thing you want to do is to start falling down those tiers, especially when you're going to have people like Jade Cargill, whenever they finally pull the trigger on her, and other people like that. And there's loads of fantastic talent in NXT as well, that's coming through. Tiffany Stratton, I think, is going to be the next massive star there. So you don't want to be missing those opportunities. And somebody else taking them from you, because Charlotte's she's a phenomenal athlete. You can say what if you like her, you hate her, you have to respect her body of work. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, we get you on now shortly in a few minutes. Just get through some of this news stuff, and we get talking to Kenny about the books and all. Bonkers. There will be a DM in the darts post soon. Awesome, Stephen. I got my gobbledygooker figure in the post today. The best figure of 2023, in my opinion. Good Lord. Charlotte having surgery next week. Yeah, absolutely. Wish her speedy recovery. AEW is generally at its best when it's trying to be an alternative WWE, as opposed to trying to usurp WWE as the biggest promotion in the US. TNA was the exact same thing. TNA was brilliant out there for some of the different stuff it did. The X Division, the six-sided ring, all that kind of stuff. Ultimate X, the lockdown pay-per-view, way ahead of themselves in that stuff and various other things. And the X Division, the tag team division was brilliant. The women's division was brilliant at the time. And then for some reason they wanted to become Monday Night TNA and something like that, and it just went to hell. Charlotte versus Jade WrestleMania plans now finished. Yeah, I'm very sad to hear if that's the case. Really sad. Morris is in. Morris Shortall on Facebook. Hope to see the return of the Bra Panties match or a Hoover on a pole match. Morris, you legend.
Love it.
Look forward, fellas. Look forward.
Absolutely. Where was Morris a few minutes ago? And I was getting the Arsenal bashing. I mean, seriously, man.
Oh, he's there. He's there. He can suck that up. Don't worry about that. Just a little one for everyone in the chat, and Kenny, if you want it as well. Who do you think your Royal Rumble Final Four will be? Seen this on a Twitter page today, and I thought it was a good starting point. Let's say Punk,
I think
Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and Jey Uso.
I think I have 3 of those 4, and I think the fourth person will be LA Knight. I think he'd be the first of those 4 to be eliminated, but it won't do any harm to his character and his run. I think if he has a good Royal Rumble, it could be the big making of him without even winning it, But I think the other 3 has to be those other 3. Who's going to win it? My God, you tell me. They've thrown a massive spanner in the works here because if it was Cody or Punk in the Rumble and not both of them, you'd say, well, there's your winner straight away. Now it's just, I wouldn't be surprised to see Gunther winning it at this stage. So there's a lot of but it's good, isn't it? Because it leaves that uncertainty. Before, back in the day, you remember Royal Rumbles from back in the day up into maybe the early 2000s. You'd always know, you can always predict the winner every single time. You just knew it. You just built it up in a way that it's going to be like Triple H coming back from his quadriceps or something like that. You knew he was going to go on to win it. There's always those kind of Royal Rumbles. You just knew who were going to win. This time it's unique because there's a handful of people there that can really make a claim for it. So it's exciting though.
Yeah. Dare I say we could get a dodgy Royal Rumble where 2 boys hit the floor at the same time or something like that.
I thought that myself.
I'll be surprised.
Yeah. I thought that myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could both finish the story then. So that did cross my mind at one point. I don't think they should do it. It's been done before. I don't think they should go down that path. But who knows?
The last one wasn't great. The last one wasn't great.
Last one wasn't great. No, but they could throw that spanner in the works. I mean, Gunther is the one. But again. Gunther as Intercontinental Champion, does he need to win the Royal Rumble this year? I don't think he does. I think there's still a little bit longevity in that IC run, all the way into WrestleMania as well. So I don't necessarily think he needs to win the Royal Rumble. I think Punk or Cody probably do. To be honest, I don't see Jey Uso winning it. I definitely think he'll have a good Rumble, but I think LA Knight could be a dark horse as well. But
I'd say the Jey Uso gimmick, that main event one, is kind of like, you'll be around the main event, but you won't really be the main event kind of thing. That kind of way. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Usos fan. I arguably think they're one of the best tag teams ever. And they're certainly they're 100% on my tag team Mount Rushmore anyway. That's for sure.
100%, absolutely.
This guy won't leave me alone. Look, I can't believe you didn't get the Gooker the minute it came out. What a moment in WWF history the Gooker was. Good Lord. Absolutely. So if you're in the chat, folks, let us know. Who do you think your final 4 will be in the Royal Rumble, and ultimately who you think will win? And we'll be doing this each week as things evolve and stuff like that and all. It's certainly going to be interesting. I have a little bit of work now for the chat as well, by the way. And Stephen, strap yourself in, my friend. Which WWE worst gimmicks you choose? Who is the worst gimmicks out there? I seen this on another site the other day. Doesn't have to necessarily be any of these 4, but I'm sure some of them will come up, no doubt. But let us know, Stephen. I'm sure you're devastated that the gobbledygooker is up there, seeing as he's your main guy. What a gimmick!
It's I can't believe Laura Tensai isn't in there, by the way. But there's some crackers there. Only you can look beyond those 4 that you have up there. It's difficult. I think Gobbledygooker is a legend for different reasons, though, to be fair. So I'm gonna give him a bit, perhaps. But Red Rooster, Jesus Christ, whoa, that was
tough.
That was hard.
So let us know in the chat, folks, what you think is WWE's worst gimmick, and if you want, you can give us 2 if you're tied on it. Morris is in. Cody's story will be on the pre-show. Goldust brother. Punk, yeah, finishing that good story. Ace is in. He going for Punk for the Rumble. I have a feeling Mick Foley will return. Interesting. Normally only crops up around this year, doesn't he? They always need a Santa. I was looking back at some of this WWE Christmas stuff today in the shop, actually. The amount of times Foley just pops up. It's mad. Yeah. So,
I've got his book actually. Have you ever seen the book he released, a Christmas book there?
Yeah, the Christmas
like
one,
a,
yeah.
like a, yeah, I have it. It's absolutely awful, but it's just one of those ones that you have to have in the collection nonetheless. Like, but yeah, it's definitely one.
Yeah, so definitely let us know, folks, your worst gimmick in there, of course. Morris is in. Awesome to throw Punk out to the setup mania. Keeps Punk away from the belts for a while. Could be the case. See more Punk, absolutely. Bonkers. Gunther, Finn, Punk, and Cody, Jay, and Sammy. Tell you, that'd be a fierce end for a Rumble, wouldn't it?
That'd be
Nothing wrong
an
with that.
awesome finish, wouldn't it? That would be an
Yeah.
awesome finish, and it'd be so unpredictable as well. I think that'd be a class finish. It really would.
I think
Sammy
if
so
you end up with those 6 at the end, then I am thinking one of those double swerve yokes or something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of weird, all right. But yeah, great show, Bonkers. Love it. Acers, Rollins and Punk promo on Raw set. Raw set WrestleMania 40 night 1. Looking forward to hearing Punk real pipe bomb and on set coming night after Rumble. We're going to be talking about Punk now in a second. Let me just catch up on the comments. Cody, Punk, Jay, and Gunther. Yeah, I think people are kind of going for they're pretty much in there. Did you tell Kenny about the Road Warriors? Kenny, I think he was on the show when we spoke about it. Ian sent me a YouTube video of World of Sport, and the Road Warriors came out, but it wasn't the Road Warriors. It was just 2 British lads, and they were the furthest thing from the Road Warriors.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see that video.
Yeah, I'll send you on the link later. Cody Rhodes winning the Elimination Chamber. Interesting. See, that's what we forget as well. We're so consumed at the moment by the Rumble, we forget that there's this huge event, Elimination Chamber, coming up in Australia as well. It's going to be massive. Bonkers.
That's a game changer.
If Jay main event, he winning the main event. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Carvo's in. Big up, Carvo. Big up, folks. Keep us posted, Carvo. Let us know how Newcastle is doing as well. We are interested in that tonight. Acers, they were all garbage. There you go. Yeah, but give us your worst one. It doesn't have to be any of these 4. It can be any one you want. Put out there whoever you want. How dare you? I knew you'd love that, Stephen. I was thinking of you all week when I was putting this together. I thought the Red Russo was an awful idiot. He was an awful idiot.
Very much so.
Yeah, Carvo. One of the worst WWE gimmicks was the Mexican kills on the lawnmowers. You didn't like that? I thought that was so cool.
I know, it was quite funny. That. Yeah.
That just stank of Vince McMahon, didn't it? It just stank of Vince McMahon. So cool.
Yeah, it was awful. And awful in a good way, though. It's like one of those Sharknado movies. You know they're awful, but you can't just stop watching them.
Shout out to the boys as well. Unbelievable wrestlers as well, lads. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Incredible. That was super crazy and all, wasn't it? Remember Super Crazy? He was so good.
Yeah.
Stephen, don't be dissing my boy Tensai.
Oh, I know you were going to go with that one. Yeah, so we'll leave that one there.
Yeah, Corvo. Remember Kerwin White? Yeah. My God, imagine if that was these days. If it's not white, it ain't right. Remember that? With Chavo of all people. Good Lord. Yeah.
Crazy. Do you remember the guy, what was his name in NXT back in the day? Mordecai. Yeah, that has to go in there somewhere. That was pretty awful.
Yeah. And then he became, and that was wasn't it? That was Kevin Thorne, wasn't it?
Kevin Thorne, yeah.
So he went from being the white god Undertaker, who was supposed to take over, to becoming the vampire guy with Shelly Martinez. Remember?
Yeah.
What a change! What a change of character, huh? I actually have a friend of mine, Niall, who lives in Arizona. He's my brother from another mother as well. He was big on the Mordecai gimmick, big on it, and he's a big fan of Kevin Thorne as well. So shout out to Niall if you're listening in or whatever. I have a feeling Austin could return, or Kane. Hopefully Austin, not so much Kane. Just saying. Remember the Matador? Yeah, the Matador. Good Lord. God, you're pulling them out now. Pulling them out. I'm a big Bassy and Booger fan. No, you're not. I have his classic superstars figured about. Just because you have his figure doesn't make you a big fan of him. Stop that now. Retribution, worst gimmick. Captain America, worst. The Repo Man should be there. No, I wasn't too bad on the Repo Man. I was okay. Maybe it's my love of Demolition. I couldn't hate on him. breaking the fourth wall I am there now. Damian Priest versus Virgil is set for WrestleMania 40. Not too upset with that.
That'd be a cracker. Okay. Yeah, good call.
Okada's a free agent in 2024. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. He is defo my favourite. Could you see him, Kenny, going into WWE? I don't know whether I could see that. Could you?
I could, but I can also see him destroying him too, because you don't have a great record with Asian superstars. But maybe you could probably have a degree of an argument for Nakamura to a degree, but that's really it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right fit for WWE, to be honest, but maybe.
I couldn't see him going into WWE.
I can't see it. No, I can't see it.
I just say it. Or maybe we could see it, but I just, when I think of Shinsuke and stuff like that, I just, and as you said, the history of those guys going in there, it just, for some reason, it just doesn't hit those
doesn't resonate
and stuff like that, and it's
it doesn't resonate with fans.
The thing about it as well with fans as well, if you're a fan of Okada, you can't really bring Okada in as a kind of mid-tier or opener or whatever it is and stuff like that. You got to respect the history and the grind and all that and all, and it's tough to just shoot it straight in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Eric's in. If anyone has challenged Roman for the titles after the Rumble, it's either Cody or The Rock. If he makes a sudden appearance and wins the thing, I think that Rock thing has kind of died away a lot, hasn't it? And maybe they're just working us. I think that's pretty much gone at this stage.
I think Triple H even mentioned that, didn't he? I could come back maybe over a year ago. He mentioned about that whole thing with Rock and Roman. He said, "Look, it's out there, it's there, but the clock is ticking, and if for it to be done right, it needs to be done now, or it's never going to get done." I think that's kind of where we're at the moment. I just don't see it happening.
I think if they brought in The Rock, as much as I wouldn't be upset about it, I think it's a real kicker to the roster, isn't it, really, when you think of the work they've put in over the last, whatever it is, 3 years of the bloodline or whatever it is, and the many people that have chased him down and all that kind of stuff, and Cody trying to finish the story, CM Punk back, Randy Orton back, and all. What do you do? Do you drop The Rock into that mix?
Does he want to shit all over Roman as well? If that match happens, who goes over in that match? Who wins that match? You know what I mean? I don't necessarily need everybody needs to go over, but who wins that match? Everybody wants The Rock to win it, right? That's fine. But if he does, where does that leave Roman? I don't think The Rock wants to put Roman in that position either. But I just can't see it happening. I think the boat has sailed. I don't think it's coming back.
Do you know what my original thought was? My original thought was maybe if Roman, and I know this is kind of out there a bit, maybe if Roman drops the belt before Mania and sets up the Rock match so it's not a title match, maybe you can still do your stuff, open up that title picture.
Only way they can do it.
And you still get Rock and Roman, because otherwise, imagine Rock winning the belt and Damian Priest cashes in or something like that. It'd be crazy.
What they could have done with that is, but I don't think it can happen now because the roster is so stacked now with Orton and Punk being back. Well, what they could have done is it could have had Roman defend against, let's say, Cody on night one, drops the belt for whatever reason, and there's some sort of promo or some sort of, they could work it into a night two and Roman versus The Rock in night two then as well. No title on the line. Happy days. It's a win-win. And it's marquee, it's money, it's huge. It won't happen. I think it's done.
Yeah, don't forget, shortly, folks, we're going to be talking to Kenny about the books and all that kind of stuff. And also, if you have any questions for Kenny, we'll put them to him and stuff like that. We'll just shoot down through some of these comments. That's how Triple H doesn't phone up Kevin Nash and call to screw Punk again. Can you imagine? If they have, there's been a little bit of chatter on Kevin's podcast about it, that's for sure. The Finn Balor gimmick is awful. Morris. I could see AJ Styles turning heel and causing Randy at Rumble. Don't know about that. Not too sure about that, Corvo. I think they're holding off on AJ Styles at the moment, aren't they, a little bit, because they don't really know at the moment what to do with him, to be honest.
No.
With Punk and Orton coming back, the whole dynamic of everything on the roster has really changed, so we want to see AJ used the right way as well. We love AJ Styles. You're forgetting Battle Cat. Jesus. Mad. Isaac Yankin was
there's a good one. Yeah, that has to be up there.
I knew Morris was going to come out with this. I was waiting, Morris Muhammad Hassan. I was waiting. Kevin Thorne, Kevin Thorne. Remember Kevin Thorne? Yeah. Cool idea. And here, not too shabby on the eye either, Shelly Martinez, just saying. Heidenreich. Now, if we're going to start talking about Heidenreich, we're going to be talking about Road Warrior Heidenreich. Not just Heidenreich. Let's really go there. What he did to Michael Cole was mad. Had him up against a wall. also being a member of the Road Warriors. There you go, Corvo. Member of the
Yeah.
Road Warriors.
Ah,
There
let's
we
just forget that
say.
ever happened. Yeah,
I
that
remember,
never
remember
happened.
Animal. Remember Animal did an interview on it, and he went mad. Remember he was going crazy. R.I.P. to Animal as well, of course. Loved the Road Warriors, but he wasn't
Amazing.
happy at all. Actually, I remember talking to Heidenreich down at a show. He did a show down in Kildare, I think for NLW, or it wasn't OTT at the time. It would have been NLW or MSW or something like that. And I remember talking to him about it as well. He wasn't happy with it either, to be honest.
No.
So there you go. So shout out to Heidenreich as well. The worst gimmick was Paul White coming out as a different superstar. Did you see that poor lad getting slammed across the bonnet of that car in AEW a few weeks ago? Good Lord. I love all the heavyweights. Absolutely. Stevenson. Does anyone remember Friar Ferguson? Got the shades, bro. He has the shades and all on. Yeah, but you're not in the background yet. I can't bring you on unless you're in the background. Imposter Kane was a bit of a disaster. Absolutely was. Just as bad as that unmasking of Kane and that silly burn stuff. No chance, because Okada has a family. He will re-sign with New Japan. I think that's best for him, to be honest. I think that's best for him and his career as well, to be honest. One of the best matches I'd love to see is versus Gunther. Yeah, that'd be classic. That'd be classic. He's doing great stuff at the moment as well. AJ Styles is challenging Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. That'd be a disaster. That's not something I can get behind. At Aces, when is AJ Styles back? The talk is he's ready at the moment to come back. They're just trying to figure out where he fits into all this picture at the moment, to be honest.
It's just have to shoehorn him in somewhere, because, like, at the moment, I think the only natural decision to make with AJ is to turn him heel again, because it's a landscape full of high-profile baby faces out there at the moment. I just don't think another one is going to really fit in too well, to be honest, unless they bring him down a tier, which he doesn't deserve that either, So,
they
I don't know.
Turn him heel, grow out the scruffy beard, hairy chest, the whole lot, a la TNA. Remember that?
There you go. Love it.
He just comes out and he's like sort of Magnum TA or something like that. Or something. It was crazy. AJ Styles surprising the Rumble match. Now, that's what I would do. I would hold him till the Rumble or something like that.
Yeah.
Don't just shoehorn him in. Bonkers. Just thought if this Lesnar get put out of the Rumble by Gunther, I can see it. Yeah, the airtime, there is talk of Gunther Lesnar. That'd be so much. Good Lord.
Amazing.
I don't know if you've all seen Lesnar's daughter the other day, and like, she's an absolute monster. She's a beast as well. Fair play to her and stuff like that, Jackie and hi, Niall. Hope you're both well. Sorry I'm late. I was just making someone a PFP. Not a bother at all, Jack. Anytime, my friend. Acers, Brock Lesnar versus Walter is Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 40. Let's not for the IC belt. I'm still a bit weird on it. Jack, did you see the press conference? Yeah, mate, that does. And we go, won't be long, as I need to grind to get the 400 subs before that. Absolutely, Jack. I always appreciate you jumping on, even if it's only for a few. Mizdale was garbage for me as well. Yeah, Mizdale, good Lord. CM Punk should have slapped Rollins up. I think they're saving for it, but let's get talking about that. You're still not in the background there, so if you're coming on, let me know if you're there. What did you make of this selfie? Did you make of this the other night? This was crazy, wasn't it?
Did he know he was doing it, that Bret Hart hoodie under? He must have known. He must have known. But it was pretty cool moment. Kick off and I was going to say a takeover. Jeez, we haven't had one of them in a long time. An NXT event, but it was a cool moment. It was a token gesture just to have him on the third show. That's all it really was.
It was good to kill.
It was very cool. It was very cool.
Yeah,
I just loved the whole thing coming out in the Bret Hart gear. I took a moment to figure that out. I was like, oh yeah, okay, now we get it.
But, at first I thought, first of all, obviously the pink is a giveaway, but at first I thought it might be one of the ice hockey teams because he's a big ice hockey fan or something. And then I seen the Bret hoodie and stuff like that. And all. We know how big a fan Punk is of Bret and stuff like that. And all, so I was going to kill with Sean stuff. But I like the way you kind of build it up. Will I sign for SmackDown? Will I sign for Raw? Could I even sign for NXT? And I'm there going, stop now. You're nice, and it's going well, but let's not be stupid. Don't be giving false hope here to people, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it was a kind of a cool moment and stuff like that. But then we get on to, finally, we get the Raw promo. And the Raw promo, he takes a little dig, a little dig to say the least at AEW indirectly, because we know both parties can't really say anything at the moment directly. Because there's obviously NDAs and litigation going on and all sorts of stuff, I'd imagine. But that bit where he says, I don't know who'd feel comfortable working with somebody who'd randomly just punches people in the face backstage. And I thought
Love
that
that.
was so cool. That the
I
way he
love
just
that.
threw it out there. Did you know what was disappointing about it? And I don't know whether maybe this to me, and I heard Cornette talking about this as well. This might be a sign that actually wrestling fans don't all watch AEW and that WWE fans watch WWE. They don't necessarily watch AEW because I don't think he threw it out there and maybe he wanted it that way to kind of fly under the radar a bit because it didn't get the monstrous pipe bomby kind of pop that you would expect when you throw something like that out, which kind of led me to believe, you know, pending on where he was and stuff like that, did they understand the backstory to it or not, you know? And Cornette was talking about as well, and I like the slant that he put on, stuff like that, that maybe they're trying to keep it on the down low with everything else going on in the background legally, maybe, or something. But it was kind of cool moment and stuff like that.
But the other
What
side
did
of
you
it is
make?
as well,
What did you
though.
make of it? Yeah?
Like the other
What?
side of it is as well. WWE don't need to have those slight remarks towards AEW, and they haven't really done that as such over a period of time. Whereas the other way around, it's just constant, it's week in, week out. There's a WWE reference. There's somebody talking about WWE on live on AEW TV, and it was funny the first couple of times. Now it just becomes silly. You're still doing it. Do you know what I mean? So you don't think they need to have those slide remarks. People know the story behind it. They don't need to. What I do find is very interesting, though, and I think it could have been Bully Ray mentioned it on the Busted Open podcast. I think it could have been. I could be wrong now, but they mentioned the similarities to the Punk Rollins interaction on Monday to the Hangman in Punk interaction in AEW, where it became very personal. You're a virus, you're a cancer, we don't want you here, nobody likes you backstage. They're keeping it very kind of, there's a common denominator. Maybe Punk is the disruptive part of all this, and even if it is only going to be storyline, but they really are taking it quite serious at the same time. And I like that because there's a lot of it's very authentic, you know, which
Yeah.
is something that doesn't happen enough in pro wrestling today, I don't think. There's a lot of animosity back there, but professional animosity at the same time. I don't know if Rollins and Punk do actually delay the inevitable and get into the ring and have that package together, they'll be very professional in that ring. It'll be a fantastic 2 and 4, and I hope they draw it out and they actually, you know, they don't just rush into a match between each other. They actually bring it full circle, because I think there's a big storyline here that they need to kind of milk the last out of it.
Yeah, I seen that all right, Daz. Did you hear about the same night as World's End Punk versus Dominic announced at a house show? Yeah, I wonder will that stay a house show? Be interesting to see. That could be WWE's first televised house show, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. Aces is in AEW Winter is coming tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Newcastle 1-0 up. Big up, Carver. I'm sure you're happy with that. Right, chat. You're not getting off the hook either. Eno, if you want to come on, you got to click on the link, mate. I can't see you there. You're not in the background. So if you want to come on, click on the link, mate, and then I'll bring you in. Dream triple threat match. Have a think about this, folks. You don't have to jump in straight away. I like this graphic. It was kind of cool. It was put out there. And pretty much is a dream triple threat match. And we're talking about guys in their prime and stuff like that as well, obviously, right? So let us know what would be your dream. And I'm not a big fan of triple threat matches as well. If you follow the podcast, you'd know that. But let us know what your dream triple threat match would be. And be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. So yeah, put that out there. Still no sign of Eno anyway. So we'll get in. Let's get in now and start talking about books, Kenny. This is where you take main stage here. Folks, here is some of the artwork from Kenny's books. He has sent to me and stuff like that. Absolutely outstanding. This slide does not do them justice. They're nearly 3D when you look at them. The book down below on the right is The Greatest Show on Earth. That's Kenny's first book. Of course, we did the release in the shop. It was a great day. We had great fun on the day. Lots of people came in. The book is absolutely sensational. If you haven't got a copy of this book yet, get a copy of this book. Google it out there. Kenny will let you know where you can get it, or you can contact him directly. He'll give you his links later. But it's a sensational book. And, you know, Kenny, you take over. Tell them about The Greatest Show on the Earth, what it is, what it's about, how you came about it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So first and foremost, bookworm.ie. direct link. You'll be able to get the book direct posted. They normally do next day delivery on it as well, which is really handy, especially the Christmas period coming up. So there you go. Get on it. If they run out of stock, it'll say out of stock, but I can get that restock back in anyway. So be absolutely no problem there. If you want to get the books out, yeah, bookworm.ie. Is the place to go for that. Greatest show on earth. Well, I know we spoke about this in great detail at the start of the year, just before its release. But again, it was a book 3 years in the making, for different reasons. It was a book that had started off as a pandemic project, as a lot of people probably had when they were sent home from work back in those days. With
that's how this podcast came about.
Really?
Yeah, just because of pandemic.
There you go. There you go.
I got fed up sitting at home talking to myself.
Well, look, it's just one of those things. I started as a project just at home. As I said, I love to draw pictures. I love to draw different things. I like to do kind of artwork similar to what you see on the screen there. I do other kind of styles as well, but that's kind of the stuff that I love to do the most. I started drawing an image because it was leading into WrestleMania, or close to WrestleMania. It was only a few weeks behind. I started drawing a picture of the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 6. Absolutely loved the drawing. It was just a WrestleMania moment, as you can probably see with the Hulk Hogan t-shirt. Although the beard is probably covering most of it. You saw me the t-shirt. You forgot to tell me his face was so high up on the shirt. My beard covers his face, but other than that, it's all good. But no, I started drawing that picture of Hogan and Warrior, and all of a sudden I was like alarm bells going off in the back of my head, singing, right, you know what? I've been itching for a project to do for quite a while. I didn't know what it was going to look like or what it was going to be. And then all of a sudden, WrestleMania was around the corner, drew the picture, and all of a sudden, I knew exactly what I needed to do, which was a book about WrestleMania, greatest show on earth. It's looked through the perspective of a fan, which is me, of course. Not something like your generic WrestleMania book, which you can line 10 of them up in a row, and they're all going to pretty much be word for word exactly the same thing. Throughout, this is a fan's perspective. Loads of lovely stories in there, relatable stories from my lifetime, childhood, growing up in the 80s, watching WrestleMania, my experiences on the day, watching the show, just nice little stories about, stealing ITV signals from people's satellite dishes back in the day as well, which I think we all did at some point back in the 80s, at least anyway. But yeah, it's just lovely relatable stories focusing on WrestleMania. I think it goes up as far as WrestleMania 38 because the last chapter didn't get in time on WrestleMania 39. But it's just nice little stories. I picked maybe one or two kind of main highlights from each WrestleMania, drew those pictures. As you can probably see, the likes of the Daniel Bryan were there, or Kofi Mania one there, as you can see up there as well. And just kind of spoke about those as well, and what I felt, my emotions during the day, all that kind of stuff. And I think the book is good in a couple of ways because it gives you like relatable stories. It gives you artwork, and of course, it talks about WrestleMania as well. It's just, there's something for everybody there. For young fans, older fans, there's something for literally everybody there in that, I would say. So it was 3 years of very hard graft, very hard work to get it together, but very, very proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should be. I tell you, folks, this book, it's wonderful. It really is wonderful. I was just saying earlier to Kenny and stuff like that, I have it on a frame on my wall. I don't even want to crease the pictures by reading it. It's a proper piece of art, I'm telling you, and it'll stand the test of time, Kenny. It's great stuff. Kervin's in. How are you, Kervin? First time in. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us on the show. Fuck the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega for not working with CM Punk, because right now, AW product, ice cold, nothing interesting happens. I think we all kind of feel the same as well, even though we want an alternative. We want a proper alternative. But certainly that's going to be that moment in time, isn't it? That decision is going to come back to haunt them big time. Daz is in, Kenny. He's talking Austin rocking Hogan for his triple threat.
Nice.
Eno got the link. Eno was in your WhatsApp as well. Warrior versus Hogan versus Macho Man. Wow. Triple threat. There's royalty in it. There's royalty. Yeah. Stephen, my favorite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 2. Let us know, Stephen, why. Let us know why, Stephen. Why WrestleMania 2? Sorry, I was uploading my vid and there was a mistake in it and I just had to fix it. Not a bother, Jack. Anytime, my friend. Daz Reynolds, go on the stream with Niall. Welcome, Con, if you want to come on and give us your thoughts. So then, let's get Eno in here. I'm sure he has plenty of questions. big up. How are you, my friend?
All good. All good.
All right, bud.
Good.
That's correct.
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, Kenny, give us kind of a round out then. Give us an update on Heroes. Because last time I spoke to you, I said to you in the shop that this could potentially be the beginning. And you were saying, good Lord, the body of work that the first one took. You weren't too sure whether you wanted to take on the mammoth task of it again. And just to let people know, Kenny, typically looking at that Daniel Bryan picture or the Usos picture, or the Hogan Rock picture, of course, they're all iconic, but those ones kind of stick out a lot, and the Kofi one. How long do they take? How long does it take you to complete one of those pictures?
Take that Usos. That Usos one nearly broke me. I was nearly to take retirement after that one. Because it was torture. It was torture. It depends really. Like the Usos one took a couple of weeks, to get finished. You're kind of balancing work life and you're balancing, trying to get these drawings out at the same time. So you're kind of, to be honest, with the new book, I'm kind of burning the candle at both ends to get it out because I'm anxious to get it done because there's just so much happening here at the moment and there's so many other projects lined up in the background as well. So finish work, I'm out in the office, drawing pictures, drawing up, getting things organized, lunch breaks at work, various different times of the day where I can do it. There is a certain degree of burnout at this as well. I did actually experience a bit of burnout in the middle of it as well, which wasn't nice. But look, I love doing it at the same time, so I don't mind that putting that extra yard in. I was anxious to get this one, so obviously 3 years for the first one. The first one took 3 years, obviously, because I was balancing work life and obviously the other side of things as well a little bit differently. So I wasn't really attacking it as often as I should have been. That's why it took as long as it did. This one, I really am kind of tackling very hard into it. So, the Usos that broke me, that killed me. It took hours and hours and hours. I wouldn't even hazard, I guess, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. It's a tough one. And then you look at something like the Booker T one. That was done out maybe 3 or 4 days. So there's some of them that will the Rey Mysterio one, funny enough, as you see there as well. That only took maybe a week to do as well. And some of them, like, there's drawings in there, like there's some crazy ones in there, like Tom Zank from, remember the Z-Man back in the day. I got Tom Zank done in maybe 3 hours. Do you know what I mean? And some of the others were maybe an hour and a half, an hour here, 2 hours. Some of them are just battling out, but the more detailed ones, like you see there, they do take a bit of time. But I don't want to half-arse it either.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is kind of like the warrior or the tattoos or the detail. The deal is in the detail, really, because you can't half-ass the Usos. You can't half-ass Ultimate Warrior. You can't half-ass Macho Man.
No.
You know what I mean? There's certain ones out there. You look at that Daniel Bryan one there. We spoke about this a number of times. The hourage you put into that one was absolutely crazy. So don't forget that, folks. It's the serious amount of hourage goes into this, and it's very proud for Kenny as well, because we spoke about how proud he is about what he produced as well. And kind of like me, the way I work in wrestling, but I'm not a wrestler. Obviously, I have to shop and stuff like that. So kind of when you identify that you're not going to be a wrestler and you still want to leave your mark kind of on the business a little bit and stuff like that as well, somewhat, you find ways to do this through podcasting. I have the store. Kenny does books and art and all that kind of stuff. So you still feel like you're a part of it and stuff like that. What's the time frame on Heroes at the moment? And in terms of Heroes, if you could just give us an overview, don't give too much away, but an overview in the way it's kind of obviously slightly different to the Greatest Show on Earth.
It's different to a degree. It's the same kind of concept, so it's going to be all very personal stuff, very relatable stuff at the same time. So I kind of wanted to keep the same style going through the books, if you like. But Heroes, essentially, look, we all had our own heroes when we grew up. When we were growing up for me in the 80s. Some people had their superheroes, like your Batmans, your Supermans. By the way, I do too. That's fine. But my superheroes were professional wrestlers. Growing up, hence the name of the book. Just want to keep it nice and simple, heroes, because they're my heroes and they've always been my heroes and they still are to this day. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of break down the people that kind of stood out to me the most as a fan in the 80s all the way up to today. Okay. And kind of talk about them and why they were my heroes. Okay. And, you know, what moments they had over their careers that stood out the most to myself, and that meant the most to myself for whatever reason, for any personal reason whatsoever. And I just wanted to talk about them. And in fact, it was actually in the bookstore or the book signing at your store back in April. The alarm bell started to tick there because we had a kind of a conversation. We were talking about wrestling most of the day anyway. It was WrestleMania Saturday, so there you go. But there was a little alarm bell went off at one point when we were chatting about something, and I didn't mention it to you at the time, but it did set off a kind of a. So I literally from that weekend onwards, I started putting pen to paper.
Oh, nice.
And it was just little stories that you spoke about wrestlers that you've met, and you know, meet and greets and got to speak with, and all this kind of stuff. And you look, they're as much your heroes as they're mine and everybody else's as well. But I just wanted to talk about them, but from a fan's perspective. I didn't want to go into like bios or Wikipedia bullshit or anything like that. I just wanted my perspective, fans' perspective on why these are my heroes. You know, and that's essentially what this book is about. So I'm covering a lot of it's not just WWE stuff. There's a bit of everything in there, from World of Sport, from like some Mick McManus and Big Daddy and, you know, Giant Haystacks and people like that, all the way through to like the WCW, like the Team Doom and Sting.
The British Road Warriors.
British Road Warriors.
The British Road
I'll
Warriors.
have to look at that one. They might get added into it.
I think they're on the director's cut, are they, on the floor?
They're on the director's cut. They absolutely are. But the hardest part was for me was just to kind of condense it down because, you know, to get because there's so many wrestlers for over the last maybe 40 or 35, 40 years that would be kind of heroes of mine growing up. So that was the hardest part, just to condense down the ones to where there's a couple of red herrings in there that you're not going to expect to see, which I've already spoiled one of them with the Z-Man, but that's the only one I'm going to spoil. But there's a couple of others in there as well that you may not expect to see in there. But from all walks of professional wrestling, not just WWE. There's a bit of everything. And then the front cover, of course, I think solidified everything about the book, and why these are my heroes. I mean, that the cover probably tells you everything you need to know on that as well. So.
Tell me this, something that I picked up on the cover, and then I'll let Ian can come in and ask you a question then. The question I have about the cover is, Roman has a belt, but Hogan doesn't have a belt. Was there an idea behind that? Is there levels here I'm digging into, or is it just happened?
Kind of. No, it didn't just happen. It was kind of. I guess the whole purpose of the cover was, as again, there's no great secret. I grown up in a garden, so I'm wearing the T-shirt already to show it. Huge Hulkamaniac. Hulk Hogan's always been my absolute hero growing up, and still is to this day. He was the one who started things off for me as a professional wrestling fan. With Roman, what I want to look at is the past and the present. That's essentially, and of course, Roman is the champion at the moment. So that's the only reason why the belts are on him at the moment. But yeah, it's looking at the biggest icon from the 80s and 90s, and arguably the biggest name in professional wrestling at the moment, with Roman Reigns. So that's the reason why that was chosen. Why he has the belts. He's a champion at the moment. He's the number one guy. That's literally the only reason for that.
Do you know what I loved about the cover as well? I loved the kind of, when you think about 18 with Hogan and Rock and the face-off, now we're getting Hogan and Reigns on the cover of the book. It's kind of like there's lots of little subliminal messages in there. It's going like, and as you said, it wasn't necessarily that way, but it's cool the way it comes across. Amazing the way you can indirectly capture something and get people's minds thinking and stuff like that. Ian,
well, that cover broke my heart because I'll be honest with you, like I drew up about like mock drawings. I did draw detailed ones like that, but I drew up a couple of mock drawings. I must have went through about 12 different ideas for the front cover, and it was gone to the stage where it was almost going to be settling on a front cover, and that's the last thing I wanted to do. But it just didn't work for me, and it was just one of those light bulb moments again, and that's where that one came from.
Yeah, see, it comes to me with Reigns as being it's generational, and with Hogan it's immortal. So he's gone through all the generations. You know that kind of.
You get it.
Eno, come in. You met Kenny and all. You were there the day the original book
signing
show in there. Go ahead.
Just the volume here. Hang on.
No, your volume's all good. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's just some weird sounds. You know, is everything all right there, Niall, on your side?
Yeah, no, you're perfect. Go ahead.
The book. Would that be a continuation from the first one? You know, the first one being the Great Show on Earth. Or sorry, that's the ICP. The Great Show. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And that was
believe
the
it's
intention.
Heroes.
That
Sorry?
was always the intention. I know I spoke with you as well on the day of the launch about things as well, and just chatting to yourself, Ian, and chatting to, of course, Niall and other people coming into the store that day as well. There was little nuggets of ideas floating just by speaking with you guys there on that day as well. And the intention was to do a series of books that were going to be quite similar, but a lot different at the same time, if that makes sense. I just wanted to kind of keep the continuity, I suppose, right with it as well. And yeah, absolutely. Is it strictly speaking a follow-on from Great Show on Earth? Technically, probably no, but in a way, it kind of is, because it's the same kind of style, same kind of stories and stuff like that. So to a degree, yeah, to a degree, I guess it is.
Yeah. Looking forward there, you know.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Couple of hours reading, you know, just step away from the social media, you know.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's as well. Like, I mean, the art form of reading books is kind of has left us a lot as well. And I just want to kind of get something out there that might get people interested in reading books again.
Very good exercise for the mind, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Bonkers is in. Do you think Roman going past Hogan's reign?
Past Roman.
Yeah.
I won't be able to live down now.
Well, based on the cover, Roman has the belt. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that says everything.
Kenny, what's your favourite Sting? Also, who do you think will go into the Hall of Fame?
My favorite Sting? Oh, that's an easy question. Favorite Sting was obviously the bleach blonde Sting. That's the Sting I grew up on. No, don't get me wrong. Current Sting, that version is amazing. But yeah, bleach blonde Sting, my God, that guy was that was WCW's Hulk Hogan, wasn't it? Back then, to be fair, he was just incredible. Absolutely easy.
And Hall of Fame?
For this year?
Who do you think?
Bray Wyatt's the shoe-in, isn't he? He's the obvious choice. I'd love it if Demolition got a shout, but again, the politics there, I don't think that'll ever happen. But yeah, I think it has to be Bray, and I think it has to be a kind of a lot made of it as well. I think it needs to be. I know we had this discussion a few weeks ago whether the Bray Wyatt family, the Wyatt family, I should say, goes into it alongside with Luke Harper and Eric Bowen, and I just thought to myself, it's a nice idea, it's a nice gesture, but then again, are you kind of looking at the fact that, you know, looking beyond obviously what Luke Harper had done for the company. I mean, he obviously passed away a little while ago beforehand, and you know, he could have gone into the Hall of Fame at that point. It sounds more of a token gesture, to be perfectly honest. So I think if it is going to be done for the Wyatt family, which I think should go in, I think it needs to be left for maybe next year. I think Bray has to go in his own this year. I think it's going to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen some of the social media posts in the last week or so where JoJo, this was their week to get married or something like that, and she had posted. So obviously a very tough week for her, but she has the full support of the WWE universe. I know Samantha Irwin and all was spending time with her and stuff like that and all, and it was great to see her kind of upbeat and stuff like that, but definitely no doubt a very tough week for JoJo and the family. So shout
100%.
out to them. We hope you're doing as best you can. Aces is in there, of course. Crow Sting, best ever stinger. It's amazing. It depends on when you're born, Kenny, doesn't it? It really depends on when you're born, whether you're Crow Sting or bleach blonde Sting and stuff like that and all. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's in Philadelphia, in WrestleMania.
Which?
They're going to Philly.
Yeah, Philly for 40. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, was WrestleMania 40 or 49?
Yeah,
49
or 40. 40.
40.
It's gonna be stacked too, isn't it?
I thought it might be another with ECW, you know.
Yeah, there is talk they're going to be doing some ECW stuff, and there's talk of some ECW inductions into the Hall of Fame. I wonder will they do an ECW wing and bring in a few guys, and maybe Paul Heyman could head up that wing or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But,
That'd be a cool show.
again, probably some of the ECW guys are kind of out of flavor with WWE. I know there was CTE litigation going on with some of the guys and all that kind of stuff. Just a little bit messy. Bit like the Demolition situation and stuff like that as well. Listen, Demolition are shoe-in WWE Hall of Famers. But just it's just all this stuff needs to be cleared up, got out of the way, and then they can push on from it. Right. Let's get into a little bit of history, because we're coming up on 55 minutes now. So I have a little bit of history. Of course, you'll all recognize this. Well, some of you will, some of you mightn't be old enough, but this comes up tonight in a little bit of history. There you go. You got to remember this guy had the moves.
That's a fact.
Stand back, and it's not there's a hurricane coming through.
He showed him. Sure. He showed them all. He bulldozed the competition. He was told not to do it, and he done it.
Here's me bigging up on Hulk Hogan and telling what a hero he was, and then you bring that picture up, and then it just completely ruins everything I just spoke about.
Kelly, this is your gobbledygooker moment, like Stephen.
That's my gobbledygooker moment.
There you go. Right, so let's kick it off.
The bass guitar.
Absolutely. 1989, WWE taped the match part of their pay-per-view concept, No Holds Barred. The movie at the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. The pay-per-view was a package of the No Holds Barred movie, accompanied by a tag team match pitting Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake against, of course, the Macho Man and the film's villain, Zeus, Tiny Lister. I was actually supposed to meet Tiny Lister at a WrestleCon during the pandemic, and I didn't get to do it because we weren't allowed to travel. I had gotten a Debo custom pop made for him to sign. The whole thing, it was brilliant from Friday. And
steroids.
Yeah, so sadly he passed away. So unfortunately Daz is going for it. Daz is going for RVD being in the Hall of Fame. Not too sure about that at the moment. Definitely, I think he should be there. No doubt about it. I was actually only talking to the boys today in the shop. A guy posted on Twitter this morning from his phone a video that he made when he was at the one night stand where RVD won the belt off John Cena, put him through the table and then hit him with the 5-star frog sideways off the turnbuckle. And your man had a great video shot of it. It was brilliant. I sent him a message now saying cool little clip and stuff. He was at it, so it was pretty cool and stuff like that. So yeah, but not too sure. Stand back, best funniest video on Raw with DX in McMahon promo. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Let's go again then. 1990 AWA World Heavyweight Champion Larry Zbyszko surrendered the title when he signed for WCW. The title was then retired and the company wound up the following year. Sad to see the AWA go. Some amount of history. 2011 on Raw from Norfolk, Virginia, WWE held the annual Slammy Awards. This is kind of Slammy season, that in between pay-per-view seasons, stuff like that. I essentially mentioned the 2011 one because CM Punk was a double winner on the night, taking home trophies for Superstar of the Year and Pipe Bomb of the Year. I think since then, I don't think they've done a Pipe Bomb of the Year Slammy Award for some reason. But there you go. The show also marked the return of Kane wearing a mask for the first time since 2003.
That was a waste.
Absolutely. 1989, I was talking about this with Eddie today. 1989, Andre the Giant won the last title of his illustrious career as he and Haku, the Colossal Connection, beat Demolition in Huntsville, Alabama to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Haku got to sit with Haku at WrestleMania 24. Scary enough at times. Scary enough. 2010, the annual Slammy Awards took place on Raw. John Cena took home, of course, the award for Superstar of the Year, as he did on many occasions. 2009, the WWE Slammy Awards took place on the episode of Raw with John Cena taking the Superstar of the Year award. And Sheamus voted. Here's a good one for you. Is this a jog your memory? Sheamus was voted Breakout Star of the Year. Just think about that. 2009. Sheamus. Look at the career Sheamus went on to have. Sensational.
No, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy.
That's it. The Celtic Warrior. 1987. The second ever Slammy Awards took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Rather than the awards themselves, the event is best remembered for Vince McMahon's cringe some performance of Stand Back Live on stage. And there it is, folks, there in front of you. There you go. 1997 in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bret Hitman Hart made his first appearance on WCW television since signing for the company the previous month. His appearance on Nitro was to announce Hart as the special guest referee for the Starrcade match between Larry Zbyszko and Eric Bischoff later that month. There you go. And if your first appearance, if your first appearance is to be the guest referee for Larry Zbyszko versus Eric Bischoff on a Starrcade, you should have known. You should have got out of the building straight away, and you should have known. And you would have saved yourself an awful lot of hassle. 1997, Vince McMahon cut a pre-taped promo on Monday Night Raw that announced WWE will be changing creative direction away from clear-cut good guys and bad guys, or heels and faces, of course, and will be showing more attitude. Of course, we remember that, of course, or more accurately, more attitude. This show also saw the debut of the iconic new Scratch logo. That was a kind of a sad day a little bit for me. I do love the original logo myself. 2013, after a long contract impasse, and this is one that saddened me, of course, AJ Styles left TNA Wrestling after 11 years. He had been with the company since its inception in 2002. And for me, that was the day that TNA died, because AJ Styles was Mr. TNA. It was never going to survive after that. No doubt about it. And it was very sad in the way he left as well. He was lowballed on his contract when there was other people there making truckloads of money, and he should have been getting it too. Right, let's get into the chat. Let's get some comments going here, and then we'll take some notable birthdays. Where was I? Yeah, stand by. We did that one. Oshin's in. How are you, Oshin? Good to see you, my friend. Just got done doing maths. Nice. Kenny versus Morris in Tipperary versus Kilkenny Hurling Book. I tell you. Vince is a madman. Vince is a madman. It would only take a madman to achieve what he did. Big weekend. Jake Paul on Friday, UFC on Saturday, Ring of Honor final battle. Yeah, it's a massive weekend for wrestling, folks. Not less football as well. It's going to be a busy weekend for podcasting as well. Right, let's get this off the screen before it burns our eyes. Right, let's take some notable birthdays, and then I'll get Kenny to shout out his links and where stuff can be found and all that. And have you got a date? Is there a date yet, Kenny, for Heroes or anything like that? Are you thinking?
Officially,
are you a ballpark idea?
Yeah, we have a ballpark. Officially, we're hoping. Unofficially, we're hoping April will be the date. Some part of April will be. We don't have an official date for it just yet. We're just kind of going through a couple of different things. I have to get proofread as well before anything happens. But yeah, April is hopefully looking good.
Could we potentially have another WrestleMania Day launch in the shop or something like that?
There you go. That's it. We may have to do a little bit earlier because somebody got me double booked for Wexford on WrestleMania weekend, which I'm not too happy about. But yeah, the official launch will be at yourself.
Give me that name and number. I can sort that out. Give me that name and number.
I tried myself. Trust me.
I know people down at Wexford. Don't worry.
I've shared my grievances already about that. It's not gone down unnoticed, that's for sure. But yeah, I was like, how dare you book anything on WrestleMania weekend? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Without consulting your advisor, your agent, up in Dublin.
Oh no, listen, they gave me the date and I completely forgot the dates. I was and I said, geez, yeah, that'd be great. There's actually a 2-day event. I said, this would be fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. Put me in for it. I'll do it. And then the words were out my mouth and I just realized the dates. And I said, oh Jesus Christ, of all weekends for it to happen. So yeah, I'll be like, it's like day one will be fine, but day two will be like a zombie going around the place. But I'll be all right. Be grand.
Yeah, I don't think we've done a couple of cons in the past and stuff like that. I don't think people realize they are tough days. They're tough days. You do be banjaxed at the end of it and stuff like that. Really tough and stuff like that, you know. Let's say the public can be a little bit demanding at times. Let's say,
like it's good fun. I love him, but it's good fun. But they're very demanding. He'd be absolutely wrecked after it. Especially day two, obviously with WrestleMania being on that weekend as well. I'll be a shell of a man. I'll be broken. I'll be absolutely broken, but I'll be all worth it though. Can't wait for it.
Big up for Acers here. Looking forward to the Manchester United inquest tomorrow night. Absolutely. He was at the game, Acers. Darren was over at the game. So you will join us tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. We're going to be putting the questions to Darren. And if you have any questions for Darren in the chat, you let him know too as well. Have that conversation. We've a big preview coming up for the Premier League tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Plus beat the bookie and all the latest news. And then Friday, I will have the preview for Liverpool versus Man United. That's going to be interesting. Man United 1 was my birthday night. Awesome, Daz. Daz, remind me about that closer to the time. Because if your birthday's coming up and it's on Man United 1, you might have to get a little package to arrive over there in time for it and stuff like that. So remind me, Daz, closer to the time. Right, let's take some notable birthdays. Not sure just how notable they are. There's a few in there, of course, that we have to mention, of course. So I said I'd start off at 1984, James Ellsworth, a man that Morris has had on the podcast a few times.
Chinless aggression.
Certainly very interesting character, all right. Acers is in. The volcano waltz can drive Kenny back from shop to Wexford. Yeah, absolutely. I was only talking to Kyle earlier, my friends. It's doing good. Absolutely does. Make sure you remind me. Give me about 10 days notice. Normally takes about that long to get stuff over to you. Rey Mysterio, 1974. 1981, Eddie Kingston. 1966, Ultimo Dragon. Didn't look a day of it. How could we tell with the mask? Speaking of ECW, 1964, the Great Sabu. 1952, the JYD himself, the Junkyard Dog. I'm going to keep the next one. Next up, 1977, when we're talking about TNA. How can we not talk about Elix Skipper? And then 1967, Kendall Windham. And the last one I'm going to mention, and I'm mentioning this for Dar in the chat. I told him I had it in there. 1983, one Rene Dupree, who's doing great things in podcasting at the moment as well. Dar's a big fan of the Cafe Rene and all that kind of stuff, and also pretty cool and stuff like that. So Rene Dupree, I believe, not only is it 1983, he turns 40 this week as well. So it's a big one. It's a milestone as well. So we said we'd put it out there. So Dar, you owe me one now. I told you I'd mention it. I had it in the list. I'm not sure whether you believe me or not, but it's there anyway. Right, folks. Kenny, tell us, where can they again pick up the book? And contact you and all that kind of stuff, or if they want to pick up. Acer's mentioned earlier about the artwork as well, and I know you sell the artwork as well and stuff like that. And also, let me know, where do they contact you on socials? Where can they see the stuff? How do they order stuff? Christmas is coming. These are great gifts, folks. You're supporting an Irish guy. He's big into wrestling, all that kind of stuff. He has put in the work on this stuff. Make sure you support that guy coming up to Christmas. Let's go, Kenny.
Yeah, direct link for the book, bookworm.ie. Bookworm.ie, and just type in the Greatest Show on Earth, you'll find it there. Their Christmas deliveries, I think they're still delivering up to Christmas, so get on it nice and quickly if you can, just to make sure you can get it delivered in time for Christmas. Other than that, updates, there's plenty of updates going up on the socials, so at Kenny Noble Art, Instagram and Facebook at the moment. So loads and loads of updates. I do a couple of I pop in a couple of little sneak peeks of little bits of artwork that'll be popping into the book from time and time again as well, on stories mainly, so they'll dissolve after 24 hours, so you have to get in quickly to see them. So at Kenny Noble Art, Instagram, Facebook, like the page, shout it from the rooftops, you know yourself, and of course bookworm.ie for the book itself. Use very, very good deliveries and all that kind of stuff then. So that's the second book will be going up on Amazon as well. Very shortly I'll have an update on that, so kind of soon enough as well. But yeah, bookworm.ie and then Kenny Noble Art for the socials.
There you go, folks. Make sure you go over and follow the man, support him as much as you can, all that kind of good stuff. It's serious work that goes into this and all. My friend, thank you for joining us as always on the show.
Cheers, no problem. Yeah.
Those shades as well. You don't want Interpol to recognize you or something like that, is it?
That's the gimmick. It's part of the gimmick.
That's it. Ian was in the shop with me today, so we had good crack. We were talking about wrestling and all sorts of stuff. Good day as well and stuff like that. And he'll be in again before Christmas, so sure to be back on the shows as well. Right, folks. Until next time, as I said, we will be back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, massive show with Darren. Going to get a real insight from a guy who was sitting 3 rows back in the Stratford end, just side of the goal there. He will tell you how he felt about it. I'm sure he's not happy because I haven't heard from him all day, and that's no surprise when these things go that way. We'll be also previewing the whole Premier League. We'll be doing a Beat the Bookie, giving you our picks and tips, all the latest news that's going out there. Friday, big preview, Liverpool versus Man United. Sure to be a bloodbath. It'll definitely be the bloodline, and we'll be in the red. Don't forget that. Until next time, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, like on the way out the video, share the content, follow us on all the socials. You can see now we're LinkedIn, X is there, Facebook is there. We're also on Instagram. You'll find us on TikTok, audio versions of the show, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. No matter where you want to look, you will find us. And of course, if you want to contact the show, the uppertierpodcast@gmail.com, and we will back you again real soon. Cheers, lads. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem.